Dear Chosen One, there is someone in your life right now draining your spiritual power, and they don't even know they're doing it. While you sleep, while you pray, while you build your dreams, someone close to you has been transformed into a collector of your divine energy. This is not paranoia. This is not imagination. This is spiritual warfare at its most intimate and devastating level. The shadow governments discovered long ago that your energy is the most valuable resource on this planet. More precious than gold, more powerful than any weapon, more sought after than all the oil reserves combined. They cannot take it by force, so they do something far more sinister. They position someone you love, someone you trust, someone you would never suspect, as a human battery designed to drain you drop by drop until there is nothing left of your light. But today, everything changes. You are about to learn how to identify the collector in your circle, how to protect your sacred frequency, and how to break free from this invisible prison. The truth will hurt, but it will also set you free. You are not crazy for feeling exhausted around certain people. You are not weak for struggling to rise. You have been under attack, and now you are about to become untouchable. Before we go deeper into this revelation, hit that like button right now, subscribe to this channel, and drop the word protected in the comments to seal this spiritual shield around you and let the universe know you are no longer available for energy harvesting. And if you're ready to step into the prosperity that's been waiting for you, both spiritually and practically, check out The Call to Prosperity in the description below. It's a manual with 10 powerful steps to activate that God destined for your life. You heard this message for a reason, and this is your call to prosperity, where you will be guided towards financial abundance. The link is in the description and in the first comment. Chosen One, they were made into one through generational trauma, unhealed wounds, media programming, and a lifetime of subtle conditioning that taught them to survive by taking energy instead of generating it. They learned that love means dependence, that connection means control, that the way to keep people close is to keep them worried, guilty, and engaged in endless cycles of rescue and disappointment. This is not their fault, but it is your reality now. You cannot fix them. You cannot love them into healing. You cannot give enough of yourself to fill a void that was designed to stay empty. Because the system needs that void. The system needs their brokenness, needs their chaos. It is the hook that keeps you on the line, the bait that keeps you biting, the trap that keeps you caught. Every time you try to save them, you sacrifice yourself. Every time you prioritize their crisis, you abandon your calling. That is the painful truth you must face. Let me paint you a picture so clear you will never unsee it. Imagine you are about to launch something powerful. A business, a book, a healing practice, a message that could change lives. You are in your creative zone, energy high, clarity sharp, faith strong. And then, like clockwork, your phone rings. It is them, the collector. They need you, right now. It is urgent. It is always urgent. And because you love them, because you are wired to help, you stop everything and dive into their emergency once again. 2 hours later, you hang up exhausted. Your creative fire is gone. Your clarity is clouded. Your excitement has turned into anxiety. You tell yourself you will get back to your project tomorrow. But tomorrow, there is another crisis, another call, another guilt trip, another reason why you cannot focus on your own path because they need you to walk beside them through theirs. Except they are not walking. They are sinking, and they are taking you with them. That is not love. That is extraction, harvesting, warfare. Now multiply that moment by years, by decades. How much of your life have you spent in this cycle? How many opportunities did you miss because you were too drained to show up for them? How many times did your intuition tell you to create something, start something, say something, but you were too depleted to act? How many versions of your highest self died in the waiting room of someone else's perpetual crisis? This is not about blame. This is about awakening to a pattern so insidious that it disguised itself as loyalty and compassion. The shadow governments did not invent energy vampirism. They just weaponized it. They studied ancient spiritual laws and inverted them completely. They took the principle that energy flows where attention goes and built an entire system to redirect your attention away from your purpose and toward endless distractions disguised as relationships. They know that a chosen one focused on their mission is unstoppable. But a chosen one worried about someone else's perpetual victim story? Neutralized, contained, harmless, exactly where they want you. And here is the key that unlocks everything. The collector in your life gets activated at very specific times. Not random times, strategic times. Right before you are about to step into something bigger. Right before a major decision. Right before a spiritual upgrade. Right before a public declaration of your truth. Suddenly, they fall apart. Suddenly, they need you more than ever. Suddenly, their suffering becomes so loud that your calling gets drowned out by their chaos. That is not coincidence. That is programming running through them. Pay attention to the pattern carefully now. When was the last time this person had a major crisis? What were you about to do? What opportunity were you considering? What boundary were you about to set? What truth were you about to speak? Now go back further. Look at the timeline of your relationship with this person. Notice how every time you were on the edge of a breakthrough, they pulled you back into their breakdown. It is so consistent, it is almost mathematical. Because it is. This is programmed interference running on autopilot. Let me take you even deeper into this truth. The reason this hurts so much is because this person is not a stranger. This is not some random energy vampire you can just block and delete from your life. This is someone woven into the fabric of your existence. Someone you have history with. Someone you made promises to. Someone who knows exactly which emotional buttons to push, because they were there when those buttons were installed. The system did not choose them randomly. They were strategically selected for maximum impact on your energy field. Think about it clearly for a moment. If a stranger drained you, you would walk away without a second thought. But when it is your mother, your partner, your childhood friend, your sibling, walking away feels like betrayal. It feels like cruelty. It feels like you are the bad person in the story. And that is exactly the lock that keeps you trapped in this dynamic. Guilt. The most effective prison is the one you guard yourself. The most effective chains are the ones you refuse to break, because breaking them would make you feel like the villain in their story. Here is what they do not want you to know right now. Setting a boundary with someone you love is not betrayal. It is survival. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is sacred. Saying no to their chaos is not abandonment. It is liberation for both of you. Because as long as you keep playing the role of savior, they will keep playing the role of victim. As long as you keep giving them your energy, they will never be forced to generate their own. Your enabling is their prison. Your exhaustion is their comfort zone. Your awakening breaks the cycle. But here is where the spiritual warrior in you must rise to the challenge. Because once you start setting boundaries, once you start protecting your frequency, once you start saying no, the system will fight back hard. And it will fight back through them. Suddenly, they will accuse you of being selfish. Suddenly, they will remind you of all the times they were there for you. Suddenly, they will weaponize your love against you and make you feel like protecting yourself is the cruelest thing you could possibly do. That is not them talking. That is the program panicking. This is the test that separates the awakened from the sleeping. This is the moment that divides those who ascend from those who stay stuck. When the guilt comes, when the manipulation intensifies, when they make you feel like you are the villain for choosing yourself, will you hold the line, or will you collapse back into the familiar prison of being their battery? The chosen ones who ascend are the ones who learn to love people without being consumed by them. The ones who fail are the ones who mistake self-sacrifice for love and call their exhaustion nobility and service. I need you to hear this with every fiber of your being right now. You are not responsible for fixing broken people. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. You are not selfish for wanting to preserve the light you worked so hard to cultivate. Your energy is not a public resource. It is a sacred gift from God. And if someone in your life only knows how to relate to you through crisis, drama, and dependence, then they are not connecting with you at all. They are feeding off you. That is not a relationship. That is extraction, vampirism, spiritual warfare. Now let me show you exactly how to identify if someone in your life is an energy collector. First sign, they thrive when you are struggling. Not openly, not consciously, but energetically. When you share good news, there is heaviness, a subtle deflation, a lack of genuine excitement. But when you share a problem, a fear, a wound, suddenly they are fully present, suddenly engaged, suddenly alive, because your pain feeds them in ways your joy never could. That is not love. That is parasitism feeding off your suffering. Second sign, your progress triggers their chaos immediately. You get a promotion, they get sick. You start a new relationship, they have a crisis. You set a boundary, they fall apart. The timing is so consistent, it cannot be ignored. It is as if the universe conspired to keep you small by making your growth incompatible with their stability. But it is not the universe. It is the program running through them, activating every time your frequency threatens to leave their range. They need you low to feel connected. They need you struggling. Third sign, they never take your advice, but they always need your attention desperately. You give them solutions, they find excuses. You offer them resources, they ignore them. You show them a way out, they find a reason it will not work. But they will call you again tomorrow with the same problem, the same complaint, the same victim story. Because solving the problem was never the goal. Keeping you emotionally invested was the goal. Keeping you engaged in their frequency was the goal. Draining you was always the goal. Fourth sign, you feel relief when they are not around at all. Not because you do not love them, but because your nervous system finally gets to rest. When they are not calling, not texting, not demanding, you can breathe, you can think, you can create, you can feel like yourself again. That relief is not guilt, it is truth. Your body is telling you what your mind refuses to accept. This person is not good for you. This connection is not healthy. This relationship is extractive and draining your life force completely. Fifth sign, they make you feel guilty for your blessings and victories. You got something they want, and instead of celebrating with you, they remind you of their lack. You achieved something they have not, and instead of being inspired, they are triggered deeply. You are happy, and somehow that makes them feel worse about themselves. So you learn to dim your light around them. You learn to downplay your wins. You learn to hide your joy so they do not feel bad. That is not humility. That is energy suppression. that is exactly what the system wants from you. Sixth sign, they have a crisis every time you try to create distance between you. You decide you need space, suddenly they need you more than ever. You stop answering immediately, suddenly the emergencies get more urgent and dramatic. You suggest they seek professional help, suddenly you are the only one who understands them. It is manipulation disguised as vulnerability. It is control disguised as need. And it works because you are wired to care deeply. But caring does not mean being consumed. Compassion does not mean being available for extraction every single day. Seventh sign, your intuition has been screaming at you for years, but you keep ignoring it relentlessly. Deep down, you know something is wrong. Deep down, you know this is not normal. Deep down, you know you are being used. But you silence that knowing because acknowledging it would require action. It would require change. It would require disappointing someone you love. So you gaslight yourself constantly. You tell yourself you are being paranoid, judgmental, selfish. Meanwhile, your soul is exhausted, your light is dimming, and your purpose waits. Now here is the spiritual science behind why this works so effectively. Everything is energy. That is not philosophy. That is physics. And energy flows from high frequency to low frequency, unless there is a boundary protecting it. You are high frequency. You are connected to source. You generate light naturally. But the collector in your life operates on a lower frequency. Not because they are evil, but because they are wounded, programmed, and disconnected from their own divine power. So when you interact with them, your energy automatically flows into their emptiness like water. The shadow governments understand this science better than most spiritual teachers do. They know that chosen ones are generators, not batteries. You create energy. You do not store it. You channel it from source and radiate it into the world. That is your design. That is your power. But if they can position someone in your life who constantly pulls from you, they can redirect your flow away from your mission. Instead of your energy going toward your purpose, it goes toward managing someone else's chaos. Instead of being a lighthouse, you become a power outlet for their emptiness. Let me tell you what happens when you finally cut the cord with them. At first, they panic. The collector in your life will escalate dramatically. They will create bigger crises. They will guilt trip harder. They will remind you of every good moment you ever shared together. They will question your character, your loyalty, your heart. Because the program running through them knows it is losing its power source, it will fight back. It will manipulate. It will do everything to convince you that setting a boundary makes you the villain. But here is what you must remember clearly now. After the panic comes the punishment phase inevitably. They will withdraw. They will go silent. They will make you feel what it is like to be without them in your life. And here is where most chosen ones break under pressure. Because the silence feels like rejection. The distance feels like loss. The absence feels like proof that you made the wrong choice. But this is a test of your resolve. This is the moment where you decide, do you want peace or do you want their approval? Do you want your power back or do you want to keep playing small to keep them comfortable and dependent? Then comes the clarity that changes everything forever. Once you are no longer in constant contact with the collector, once your energy is no longer being drained daily, something shifts powerfully. You start to feel like yourself again. Ideas come back. Creativity flows freely. Opportunities appear. Your body feels lighter. Your mind feels sharper. Your spirit feels connected to source. And you realize with stunning clarity how much of your life you were living in survival mode, just trying to manage their chaos. Now that they are not pulling on you, You can finally rise into your destiny. But here is where it gets even deeper than you imagined. Sometimes, removing yourself from the collector's reach actually wakes them up spiritually. When you are no longer available to be their battery, they are forced to find their own power source within. Some will crumble. Some will find another person to drain without hesitation. But some, the ones who have a real soul beneath the programming, will finally face themselves. They will finally seek real healing. They will finally stop running from their pain and start working through it courageously. That only happens when you stop enabling them completely. This is what the shadow governments never wanted you to learn or discover. They wanted you to believe that love means sacrifice. They wanted you to believe that walking away makes you heartless and cruel. They wanted you to believe that protecting your energy is selfish behavior, because as long as you believe that lie, you will keep giving yourself away. You will keep depleting your power daily. You will keep staying small. And they will keep harvesting your light through people who do not even know they are weapons being used against your divine destiny and calling. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey where you stand at the crossroads between who you have been and who you are becoming. One road leads back to the familiar, back to the draining relationships, back to the guilt and the obligation, back to dimming your light so others feel comfortable. The other road leads forward into the unknown, into sovereignty, into power, into a version of yourself that refuses to be a battery for anyone. This moment, right now, reading these words, hearing this truth, this is your crossroads, and the choice you make will determine everything. Let me be very clear about what you are up against. The person in your life who is collecting your energy, they are not going to wake up one day and apologize. They are not going to suddenly see what they have been doing and change. They cannot, because they are not conscious of it. The program runs beneath their awareness. It operates in their subconscious, wired into their survival mechanisms, coded into their relational patterns. They genuinely believe they are just sharing their struggles with someone who cares. They genuinely believe you want to help. They have no idea they are draining you, and telling them will not change it. Because you cannot fix unconscious programming with conscious conversation. So, what do? You do what every spiritual warrior must do when facing an invisible enemy. You stop fighting the person and start dismantling the system. You stop trying to change them and start protecting yourself. You stop explaining and start acting. Because the truth is, they do not need your explanations. They need your absence. Not forever, maybe. Not as punishment, definitely. But as a necessary space that forces them to either find their own power or find another outlet. Either way, it is no longer your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to reclaim your energy and redirect it toward your purpose. Here is how you do it. Step 1. Acknowledge the truth without guilt. Say it out loud. Write it down. Admit to yourself that this person has been draining you. Admit that the relationship is extractive. Admit that your compassion has been weaponized against you. This is not about making them the villain. This is about seeing the dynamic clearly. You cannot change what you refuse to name. And you have been refusing to name this for far too long because naming it felt like a betrayal. But silence is the betrayal. Silence is what keeps you trapped. Truth is what sets you free. Step 2. Stop being available on demand. You do not owe anyone immediate access to your energy. You do not have to answer every call. You do not have to respond to every text. You do not have to drop everything every time they have a crisis. Start creating space. Start delaying your responses. Start letting some things go unanswered. And when the guilt comes, because it will come, Remind yourself of this. If they truly loved you, they would respect your need for boundaries. If they truly cared, they would not require your constant depletion to feel secure. Their discomfort with your boundaries is proof that the relationship was never balanced. It was always about extraction. Step 3. Protect your energy before every interaction. If you must engage with them, do it from a place of spiritual armor. Before you call them back, before you meet with them, before you open that text, pray. Visualize a shield of divine light around you. Declare out loud that your energy is sealed, that nothing can drain you without your permission, and that you are only available for interactions that honor your highest good. This is not superstition. This is spiritual warfare. And every warrior needs armor. Your intention is your shield. Your awareness is your sword. Use them. Step 4. Set consequences, not just boundaries. Boundaries without consequences are just suggestions. If you say you need space and they violate it, there must be a consequence. If you say you are unavailable for crisis management and they try to guilt-trip you into it, there must be a consequence. And the consequence is simple: distance, silence, withdrawal of access, not as punishment, but as protection. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. And if you tolerate boundary violations, you are teaching them that your boundaries do not matter. Stop teaching that lesson. Start enforcing your limits. Your peace depends on it. Step 5. Grieve the relationship you thought you had. This is crucial. You have to mourn the illusion. You thought this person was your safe place, and they were your drain. You thought they cared about your well-being, and they only engaged with your struggles. You thought the love was mutual, and it was one-sided. That hurts. That is a loss, and you have to let yourself feel it. Cry, rage, journal, process. But do not let the grief pull you back into the dynamic. Grieve forward. Grieve toward freedom. Grieve knowing that what you are losing was never truly serving you, and what you are gaining is yourself. Step 6. Fill your own cup. You have spent so much time pouring into someone else that you forgot to drink from your own well. Now is the time to reverse that. What lights you up? What fills you? What makes you feel connected to Source? Do more of that. Invest in yourself the way you used to invest in them. Spend time in prayer. Spend time in nature. Spend time creating. Spend time with people who celebrate you, not just people who need you. You will be shocked at how quickly your energy returns when you stop giving it away to those who do not value it. You are not a reservoir. You are a river. And rivers that stop being drained start to overflow with abundance. Step 7. Recognize the spiritual warfare for what it is. This is not just a difficult relationship. This is a targeted attack on your divine assignment. The shadow governments studied you. They know your mission threatens their system. They know your light disrupts their darkness. So they did what any intelligent enemy would do. They compromised you from the inside. They used someone you love as a Trojan horse to drain you before you could become dangerous. But now you see it. And once you see it, it loses its power. You are no longer an unconscious participant. You are a conscious warrior. And conscious warriors do not lose. Step 8. Understand that your rising will trigger their falling. And that is not your fault. When you reclaim your energy, when you set your boundaries, when you refuse to be drained anymore, the people who depended on your depletion will struggle. They will accuse you of changing. They will say, you are not the person you used to be. And they are right. You are not. You used to be someone who sacrificed themselves for others. Now you are someone who honors their own divine worth. You used to be someone who said yes out of guilt. Now you are someone who says no out of wisdom. That change will make them uncomfortable. Let it. Their discomfort is not your emergency. Step 9. Trust the process of shedding. Not everyone is meant to go with you to the next level. Some people were only in your life for a season, and that season is over. Trying to drag them forward is like trying to wear clothes that no longer fit. It is uncomfortable for you and damaging to them. Let them go. Release them with love. Bless them from a distance. And trust that the universe will send them exactly what they need, which may or may not be you. Your job is not to be everyone's healer. Your job is to fulfill your own purpose. And you cannot do that while carrying people who refuse to walk on their own. Step 10. Reclaim your power by owning your story. You are not a victim. You were targeted, yes. You were drained, yes. You were used, yes. But you are not a victim. You are a warrior who walked through fire and came out forged in divine strength. You are a chosen one who faced the most intimate form of spiritual warfare and chose yourself anyway. You are a light that refused to be extinguished. Own that. Speak that. Embody that. Because your story is not just your healing. It is the roadmap for others who are still trapped in the same cycle. Your freedom is their hope. Your boundary is their permission. Your rising is their proof that it can be done. Now, let me tell you what happens when you fully commit to this path. When you stop being a battery and start being a sun. When you stop giving away your power and start generating it from within. When you stop engaging with energy collectors and start surrounding yourself with energy amplifiers. Everything changes. Your health improves because your nervous system is no longer in constant fight or flight. Your finances improve because your creative energy is no longer being drained. Your relationships improve because you are no longer attracting takers. You start attracting people who match your frequency, who honor your energy, who add to your life instead of extracting from it. Your purpose becomes clear because the fog of constant crisis management lifts. Your intuition sharpens because you are no longer drowning in someone else's chaos. Your manifestations accelerate because your energy is finally aligned with your intentions instead of being scattered across a dozen different people's problems. You become magnetic. You become unstoppable. You become exactly what the shadow governments feared you would become. A fully empowered chosen one operating at full capacity. And when that happens, you do not just change your own life, you shift the entire grid. Because your light, when it is no longer being siphoned, reaches farther than you ever imagined. It inspires others. It awakens others. It gives others permission to protect their energy too. This is the part where I need you to understand something that will change everything. The shadow governments cannot touch you when you are operating from your true frequency. They have no power over a chosen one who knows their worth, protects their energy, and refuses to engage in low vibrational dynamics. That is why they invested so heavily in positioning collectors around you, because they knew that direct attacks would only make you stronger. But internal drainage? Slow, consistent, imperceptible depletion? That keeps you weak without you ever realizing you are under attack. Until now. Now you realize. Now you see. Now you know. And knowledge is power only if you act on it. So let me ask you directly, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to close this video, feel momentarily inspired, and then go right back to answering their calls, managing their crises, and depleting yourself in the name of love? Or are you going to take this as the divine intervention it is and actually change? because the universe did not bring you to this message by accident. You are here because your soul is screaming for liberation, and liberation requires action. Let me paint you one final picture. Imagine two timelines. In timeline 1, you ignore this message. You convince yourself it is not that bad. You tell yourself they need you. You keep playing the role of savior, fixer, emotional support system for someone who drains you daily. 5 years from now, you are still stuck, still exhausted, still resentful, still wondering why your dreams never manifested, still watching other people live the life you were supposed to live, because your energy, the fuel you needed to create your destiny, was poured into someone else's bottomless pit. That is timeline 1, the slow death of your potential. Now imagine timeline 2. You take this message seriously. You set the boundaries. You protect your energy. You create space. You reclaim your power. The first few months are hard. There is guilt. There is pushback. There is loneliness. But you hold the line. And 6 months in, something miraculous happens. You start to feel like yourself again. Your creativity returns. Your clarity returns. Your joy returns. Opportunities that were blocked suddenly open. People who match your frequency suddenly appear. Your purpose becomes undeniable. And 5 years from now, you look back at this moment as the turning point. The moment you chose yourself. The moment you stopped being a battery and became a force. That is timeline 2. The resurrection of your destiny. Which timeline do you want? Because you cannot have both. You cannot protect the feelings of your energy collector and protect your own future. You cannot keep them comfortable and keep yourself empowered. You cannot stay in the draining dynamic and expect to rise. It is one or the other. And the choice, painful as it may be, is yours. No one can make it for you. Not me. Not God. Not the universe. Only you. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Because every day you stay connected to someone who drains you is another day your light dims, your power depletes, and your destiny gets delayed. The cost of inaction is higher than the cost of change. Remember that. Here is what the chosen ones who make it understand that the others do not. You are not responsible for other people's healing. You are not the Holy Spirit. You are not anyone's savior. You are a fellow traveler on this earth, doing your best to fulfill your own assignment. And if someone in your life requires your constant depletion to feel okay, that is not a relationship. That is a soul contract you need to break. Because some contracts were never divinely ordained. Some were signed in trauma, in guilt, in fear. And just because you signed it does not mean you have to honor it forever. You have the right to renegotiate. You have the right to withdraw. You have the right to choose yourself. Now let me give you the prayer that will seal your protection. Say this out loud, right now, with conviction. I am a sovereign being of divine light. My energy is sacred, and it belongs to God, not to anyone who demands it. I release all soul contracts that require my depletion. I sever all energetic cords with people who drain me. I seal my frequency with the armor of divine protection. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. No manipulation will penetrate my boundaries. No guilt will override my wisdom. I am protected. I am powerful. I am free. And so it is. Say it. Mean it. Feel it. That prayer just shifted something in the spiritual realm. The collectors in your life will feel it even if they do not understand it. And now, let me tell you what happens to the energy you reclaim. It does not just sit there. It activates. It amplifies. It starts working on your behalf in ways you cannot even imagine. Ideas that were dormant suddenly come to life. Gifts that were suppressed suddenly emerge. Doors that were closed suddenly swing open. Because you are no longer leaking. You are no longer scattered. You are no longer giving your power to people and situations that do not serve your highest calling. You are whole. You are focused. You are aligned. And when a chosen one operates from that place, miracles are not the exception. They are the norm. But here is the warning. Once you reclaim your energy, once you set these boundaries, the system will test you. The collector will come back with a new crisis, bigger, more urgent, more designed to make you feel like a monster for not engaging. And this is the moment where most people break, because the guilt is overwhelming, because the fear of losing them is paralyzing, because the old programming screams that you are selfish, heartless, cruel. But you must hold the line. You must remember why you set the boundary in the first place. You must trust that your peace is worth protecting, even if it costs you relationships that were built on your depletion. Let me remind you of something Jesus did that most people misunderstand. He walked away. He set boundaries. He said no. He prioritized his mission over people's feelings. When the crowds demanded more, he went to the mountains to pray. When his own family thought he was crazy, he kept going. When people tried to make him feel guilty for not healing everyone, he moved on to the next town. Because he understood something that chosen ones must understand. You cannot save everyone. You cannot heal everyone. You cannot pour into everyone. And trying to do so is not noble. It is self-destruction. Even Jesus, the literal Son of God, had boundaries. And if he needed them, so do you. So stop using your compassion as an excuse for your bondage. Stop calling your depletion love. Stop pretending that sacrificing yourself is what God wants from you. God wants you whole. God wants you powerful. God wants you fulfilling your purpose, not managing someone else's chaos. And the people who truly love you will understand that. They will respect your boundaries. They will honor your energy. They will celebrate your growth, even if it means less access to you. The ones who fight your boundaries were never there for you. They were there for what they could take from you. And once you stop giving it, their true nature is revealed. That revelation is not a loss. It is a gift. It is clarity. It is confirmation that walking away was the right choice all along. Now, I want to speak directly to the fear that is rising in you. The fear that says, what if I set this boundary and I lose them forever? What if I protect my energy and they never speak to me again? What if I choose myself and I end up alone? Let me answer that with a question. Would you rather be alone and free or surrounded and imprisoned? Would you rather have peace in solitude or exhaustion in company? Would you rather fulfill your purpose or fulfill someone else's need to keep you small? Because those are your real options. And the chosen ones who make it, who actually step into their destiny, are the ones who choose freedom even when it looks like loneliness. Because it is not loneliness, it is spaciousness. It is room for the right people to enter. It is the clearing of the old to make way for the new. Here is what happens when you release the energy collectors. The right people show up. The people who do not need you to be weak to feel strong. The people who do not need you to be struggling to feel needed. The people who celebrate your light instead of trying to dim it. The people who add to your energy instead of extracting from it. The people who were waiting for you to make space for them but could not get close because you were too busy being drained by the wrong ones. Those people exist. They are out there. But they cannot reach you until you release the ones who are blocking them. Your elevation requires eviction. Your next level requires release. Your destiny requires space. Make the space. And if you are wondering whether you have the strength to do this, let me remind you of who you are. You are a chosen one. You did not get that title by accident. You earned it by surviving things that should have destroyed you. You earned it by rising every time life knocked you down. You earned it by carrying light in places where most people would have surrendered to darkness. You are not weak. You are not fragile. You are not incapable. You are powerful beyond measure. And the only reason you feel weak right now is because someone has been stealing your power. But now you know, and now you take it back. Not with violence, not with cruelty, but with the quiet, unshakable strength of a soul who finally remembers their worth. So here is what you do next. You take inventory. You look at your life and you identify who is draining you, not with judgment, not with anger, just with truth. Who makes you feel heavy? Who pulls you into chaos? Who only engages with your struggles? Who needs you weak to feel secure? Write their name down. Say it out loud. Acknowledge the dynamic. And then you make a decision. Are you willing to keep sacrificing your destiny to maintain this connection? Because that is what it costs. That is the price. And if the answer is no, if something in you finally says enough, then you act. You set the boundary. You create the space. You reclaim your energy. And you do not apologize for it. Let me tell you what your life looks like on the other side of this decision. You wake up without dread. You go through your day without waiting for the next crisis call. You create without interruption. You dream without guilt. You rise without someone pulling you back down. You become the version of yourself that you always knew was possible but could never access because you were too busy being someone else's battery. That version is waiting for you, but you have to choose it. You have to protect it. You have to fight for it, because no one else will. This is your battle. And it is a battle worth winning. The shadow governments lose when you reclaim your power. They lose when you stop being available for extraction. They lose when you recognize the game and refuse to play. That is why this message gets suppressed. That is why videos like this get shadow banned. That is why the algorithm tries to hide truth from the people who need it most. Because an empowered chosen one is a threat to every system built on fear, manipulation, and control. You, operating at full power, change the world. You, protecting your energy, shift the collective consciousness. You, refusing to be drained, inspire others to do the same. Your liberation is not just personal. It is cosmic. It is revolutionary. It is exactly what this world needs. And here is the most beautiful part. When you protect your energy, when you set your boundaries, when you stop being a collector's battery, something unexpected happens. You become a lighthouse. People who are genuinely seeking light find you. People who are ready to do their own healing find you. People who want to rise with you, not pull you down, find you. Because like attracts like. When you stop operating in depletion, you stop attracting depleters. When you start operating in abundance, you start attracting abundant souls. Your frequency shift changes your entire reality. That is not manifestation theory. That is spiritual law. So if you have been wondering why your life feels stuck, why your relationships feel draining, why your purpose feels distant, this is your answer. Someone close to you has been used as an energy collector, and you have been tolerating it in the name of love. But love does not deplete. Love does not drain. Love does not require your destruction to prove your devotion. Real love honors boundaries. Real love respects energy. Real love celebrates your growth even when it creates distance. Anything less than that is not love. It is extraction. And you deserve better. You were created for better. And better is waiting for you the moment you release what is draining you. Now, I want you to understand the spiritual significance of this moment. You were led to this message for a reason. Out of billions of videos, millions of voices, thousands of messages, you found this one. That is not coincidence. That is divine intervention. Your soul called out for help, and the universe answered by bringing you here. This is your sign. This is your confirmation. This is your permission to do what you have been afraid to do. Set the boundary. Protect your energy. Choose yourself. The fact that you are still watching means you are ready. The fact that this resonates means it is true. The fact that you feel something shifting inside you means the change has already begun. Here is what I need you to do right now. Take a moment and feel the weight lifting. Feel the clarity coming. Feel the power returning. That feeling is not temporary. That is your natural state. That is who you are when you are not being drained. And you can live in that state permanently if you commit to protecting it. No more excuses. No more guilt. No more sacrificing your light for someone else's comfort. You are a chosen one. You are a warrior of light. You are a force of divine energy. And the world needs you at full power, not half empty, because you keep giving yourself away to people who do not know how to generate their own light. Stop being the candle that burns for everyone else. Be the sun that shines regardless. And if you are worried about what this means for the person who has been collecting your energy, let me ease your mind. Your boundary is the greatest gift you can give them. As long as you enable their dependence, they will never find their own strength. As long as you rescue them from every crisis, they will never learn to save themselves. As long as you are their battery, they will never connect to their own source. Your withdrawal is not punishment. It is an invitation for them to finally do the inner work they have been avoiding. Some will accept that invitation and transform. Others will find a new person to drain. Either way, it is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to your own soul, your own purpose, your own divine assignment. Fulfill that. Everything else will fall into place. Now let me leave you with a truth that will anchor you when the guilt tries to creep back in. You are not selfish for protecting your energy. You are not cruel for setting boundaries. You are not heartless for choosing yourself. You are wise. You are awake. You are aligned with your highest good. And anyone who tells you otherwise is either unconscious or invested in keeping you drained. Do not listen to them. Listen to your soul. Listen to your body. Listen to the part of you that has been whispering for years that something is wrong. That whisper is your inner knowing. That whisper is your divine guidance. That whisper is God speaking through your intuition. Trust it. Honor it. Act on it. That whisper will never steer you wrong. So here is your assignment. Before you go to sleep tonight, sit in silence and ask yourself this question. Who in my life is draining me? Wait for the answer. It will come. A name, a face, a feeling. And when it comes, do not run from it. Do not rationalize it. Do not minimize it. Accept it. Write it down. And then declare out loud, I release all energetic ties to this person that do not serve my highest good. I reclaim my power. I seal my energy. I protect my light. And I choose my destiny over their comfort. Say it with conviction. Say it like you mean it. Because that declaration just activated something in the spiritual realm. The shift has begun, and there is no going back. Only forward, only up, only into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. One more thing before we close. If you are feeling called to deepen your spiritual and financial abundance, I want to remind you about my ebook, The Call to Prosperity. It is not just a book, it is a blueprint. 10 spiritual and practical steps that activate abundance in every area of your life. Because protecting your energy is step 1. But building a life of true prosperity requires more. And that ebook will guide you through it. The link is in the description. And for those of you who want to support this channel and help me keep bringing these messages to chosen ones all over the world, there is also a Buy Me a Coffee link below. Every bit of support helps me continue this mission. And I am deeply grateful to those who have already contributed. You know who you are. Thank you. Now, before you leave, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already. And subscribing ensures you do not miss the next message. Third, go to the comments right now and type the word sovereign. That one word is your declaration to the universe that you are reclaiming your power, that you are no longer available for extraction. Chosen one, someone close to you, was being used by the shadow governments to drain your divine energy and delay your destiny. But now you see it. Now you know it. Now you are protected from it. You are not a battery. You are not a power source for someone else's emptiness. You are a sovereign being of light, designed to shine at full capacity and fulfill a purpose that only you can fulfill. Protect that. Honor that. Fight for that. Because the world is waiting for the fully empowered version of you. And that version is no longer optional. It is inevitable. Walk forward in power. Walk forward in wisdom. Walk forward in the unshakable knowing that you are divinely protected, infinitely worthy, and absolutely unstoppable. The shadow governments have lost. Your light has won, and so it is.